you wanted to wait for someone?
Leslie's
Did I
had to
hear
go to
you say
court.
you were going to wait for someone?
Oh, I thought
Leslie
had
has-
to go back. I
she
didn't
has
know
to go
that
to
she-
court.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, we just wanted to give you an update on the food bank.
Okay.
And so it's going to be moved to Zona's garage. She has agreed to move it there for,
Thank
we
you.
had to do a 10-year lease. Yeah, an MOU for 10
Yeah, it
years.
starts out as a 10-year lease and it's renewable in 10-year increments. And it'll stay there probably for the next 40 years.
We had to do that.
I won't
Yeah.
be here, but my kids will make
Somebody's
sure.
taking
it.
My kids will make sure it can.
Well, we are so sorry, but we know it's a great thing. I mean, we do. It's just a tough choice, you know. We're charged with running county business. County business is ran out of the courthouse, and to continue to do it in a efficient manner, sooner or later we got to have that back.
And that's fine, it's just the work doesn't fall on you guys. And that's the frustrating part, is that
Yeah.
this has been at a time where that we're not getting food from the food bank. I mean, it's very limited we're getting some, but not normal. Then we've been doing the fresh produce, you know.
Is it
that's-
due to COVID problems?
Yeah, and then we're having an increase, we're still at, Zona had 46 families
46
last
families.
night. We have been running like 20, 25,
Anywhere from
28.
25 to 32 families, and then last night's total was 46 families.
So
So
we're still.
Times are
running
getting
hot.
tough.
So you figure, and then with the average family size of 4, so it's over 150 people that we're servicing.
Yeah, because
so-
like we say, I know personally, a lot of people were pretty upset with me over it and stuff, and
Me
I told
too.
them, we're not kicking them out. We're just asking them to look for another place eventually, or as soon as possible, because it's definitely
It's the
something that
financial,
we
that's
need.
the struggle, is that now, because now we'll have to pay utilities, and now we have to look at liability insurance, which Fruin said is a minimum of $700 a month. So now we've just added $2,700 about, give or take, with, whatever utilities end up being,
Yeah, the
to
budget.
our budget, which our normal budget was $8,000 a year that I wrote the grants for and people donated. So again, with COVID, we got a lot more money. We matched it, during all this. And I think my frustration is just this is when we needed it the most, and now we're trying to, on top of, arranging. I mean, we brought 7,500 pounds of fresh produce into our county just at one time with the Farmers to Families program. And I get that you need the space and all that, but it's that we need, that it feels like the least of these do not matter. In the little that was being provided was just space, but also because it's a county building, then that liability if they tripped on the sidewalk was already covered. And now that goes to the food bank. And I am done as of September 1st. I told Zona, I am finished. I have had this for 18 years, and we currently have a lot of money in the bank because we got a matching opportunity. So our community kind of did a phenomenal, we are well taken care of for at least 2 years. But I'm just voicing my frustration. And so I don't know how quickly I have to reapply, because we applied for grant funding, which is why we had to do the lease. And so I have to reapply to renovate the space, to open the door, to put some concrete, to make it accessible. And then we'll be able to move. So that will, I don't know when, we were hoping
Depending on how soon.
now, but
Yeah, depending on how soon the grant can be approved and the funds appropriated, it will take at least 3 to 4 weeks
And we are setting no deadlines.
to do what we got to do over there.
okay, I didn't know because elections is the beginning of August, and so
We
I was
will-
like, our goal was that, but with everything else that
I
we've been
think that
trying to
ship sailed
manage.
already.
We'll cope.
The goal that I have right now is, like I say, depending on the grant, how soon the funds can be appropriated and how quick the minor renovation can be done. My goal is to try to have us over there by September 1st. So
Okay.
basically, August distribution will have to be held here again if possible. Yeah, I mean, we've
Is
got
that
to.
okay?
The only thing with elections was if we were COVID was happening in the county. That would be right there by the doors. Nobody'd be
To not have
coming
people who-
through the building, up the stairs and all that. That's the only
Okay.
thing. I mean,
Okay. I mean, I didn't want you to think that we were being disrespectful. It just has taken a lot more work on top of what we're already
We
trying
totally
to
understand.
do to get it done, so.
I think that's like a two-way street.
Yeah,
We don't want to be the bad guys and you guys don't want to be the bad guys, but it's just something that has to be done or had
Yeah.
to be.
Well, and we have a plan, and I think, we're also creating a board to make it an actual entity that is not based on one or two people, which we talked about before. The frustration that it always lands on whoever's coordinating it and all that workload and whatever comes, there's great opportunities. I mean, somebody donated 500 pounds of hamburger, there's great opportunities. That takes a workload. Just even the free food from the USDA, it's great. But it takes us, or me at the health department, a lot of work to get it to the people. So So that's the food bank. And then, as you asked, I'll do my mental health kind of commercial. So we did plan, because with COVID, then the parents were like, we're going to struggle with food. Yes, it would be helpful if we had healthy meals. And so, and the social isolation, like we already have seen the domestic violence, the sexual assault, the increased risk of suicide, like across the board. So as a health department, we got grant funding to do events like we're doing out this morning, just to bring the kids together, to provide a healthy meal, and we're teaching some basics on mental health. So I think Grants came and talked to you this morning about the $11,000. We did get grant funding to buy, so we can bring High Plains Mental Health here via technology, but we can't get that till our county pays the rest of our bill. So that's where that's at, that we can have access, that people aren't driving, Goodland, Colby pays in order to do stuff that we can do by technology. So the other thing that we're working on is we have a new therapist that moved home, Rachel Nisdale, and we're working on a mental health wellness center in Bird City. And the Century 2 Foundation has been working with us on that, and potentially a new clinic or something as well, but her main focus is a wellness center that would provide mental health services, counseling, addiction services, but with technology. So not everybody has to live here, and it will serve Northwest Kansas, not just Cheyenne County. So I just want to give you an update on where we're at. We're continuing to work with the schools, and I'm very excited because I feel like we're finally breaking that stigma a little bit to say it's okay to be stressed, it's okay to talk about our feelings and what's going on.
So you say you did get a grant
For that,
for the mental health side?
for all of this is all grant outside, like all that programming is paid for. We got a $3,000 grant to pay for a computer and a desk and a chair, because we can put it in the health department, because then that's supervised and we're already there. So is that what you mean?
Well, I thought you said something about you got $11,000 grant. You didn't say that a little bit
I
ago.
did not say that.
Okay.
No.
I think the hospital is paying that
Yes.
$11,000.
In order, so we
Okay.
have services that Grants had agreed that we will pay it this year, just so we can move forward with access.
So you're gonna get an office back in Cheyenne County?
not one that sees patients per se. What she's talking about is like telemed.
It's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a telemed service.
And the benefit of that is that you don't have to see just like Bob. Like we had some issues because Bob was the only provider that came here. He's driving, so you're losing an hour of his therapy time with travel. And if you didn't click with Bob, then you don't go. So like with the telemed, then they can see whatever provider they want to, and they do all that scheduling, billing, everything. All we do is provide like the space and a person outside the door, that they can call and say, hey, you need to go check on them, or, we're in crisis, we need to go to the ER, or whatever.
Well, I was under the impression we lost that office here from High Plains Mental Health because we lost that $10,000 grant. And we were paying, what, 6,500 or, and then the 10,000, that was bringing them in here.
And somewhere in the midst of that, that's not accurate, like the whole bill went up. So
Okay.
yes, we did get that, but Rawlins County pays like 16.5 and they don't have an office there. So that coming in, somewhere in the grant being here with the hospital and covering that extra 10, the bill went up and it had nothing to do with access, like having an actual office here. Does that make sense? Like,
Well, I thought that's the reason we lost the office.
it is because we didn't pay it, but it's not everybody, like Wallace does the same thing as the telemed. But, you know, they pay the least of the 19 counties, you know, and somewhere in the midst the bill went up because they lost their funding, and that's a...
We did have a conversation with Rance this morning. As far as like budget requests or budget increases, if you could get those in here by May of next year, instead of waiting to, and that was the problem last year.
But
is-
I brought it in May, Terry.
Let me finish, Candy. For the future, if you wait too long, our budget's gone. We've already fiddled with it.
I know.
I know. I'm sorry. But in the future, if you have some requests, which we had a discussion with him, and come back in May, when we have a clearer picture of what kind of revenues we're going to actually be dealing with. 'Cause
So
we
why
don't-
was that different this year? Because I did, and I went and I did all the research,
didn't
and then
have
I
the
was
money.
told, huh?
We didn't have the money.
But instead I was told that that's not what we asked you to do. We didn't ask you to look at where to, you know, that's what I feel like, is I came in and I was treated like very disrespectfully, like we didn't ask you to look at the money. And I'm like,
Well, what they
That was a
asked is for
misunderstanding.
you to look outside, like grant money or something.
no, we had a discussion in January that we
I know
discussed.
what you're talking
Well,
Yeah,
regardless of what happened in the past.
Yeah. Yes.
It-
And
it-
now that's
it
why
just-
we were hoping to get it done in May.
It
and
just
I know
didn't happen.
It didn't help anything.
We don't have a clue what kind of revenue we're going to be looking at.
Right.
We don't know how much money we're going to be losing from the state, from the federal government. There are going to be losses.
Right.
There's going to be shortfalls.
Right.
We knew that.
Yes.
We apologize.
Yeah.
But we can't dedicate money that we don't know if we're going to have it.
I understand that, Terry. I think what made me mad is that I was very disrespected and just told you're an idiot for doing what I
Well,
felt like you
nobody-
guys asked me to do.
I never felt that way.
Yeah.
And if it did happen, we're sorry. There's just,
And I understand that you guys are in a budget shortfall. It just, if you look at it, then I'm saying, you know what, here we have the poverty people, now we have the mental health people, and when you look at it that way, it can be interpreted as they're not important. And so I'm just trying to be a voice for them, because if we help them, then the rest of our community can thrive. And I know it takes money, but when we're paying $770,000, you know, or whatever, in law enforcement and all the consequences of it, to me, I'm more prevention and early intervention. So that's, as a health department, where we're aiming. We're just, let's stop treating over here, which is historically what we've done. We're trying to change the tide. Let's get it over here, because we can't pay for addictions. We can't pay for mental health. We don't have the resources. Like it absolutely falls apart. So let's focus our efforts over here, and it's changing. So that, I guess,
Trying to
is-
stop it before it starts is what you're saying.
intervene. And the trauma and the ACEs stuff that we've been doing for the last 3 years, the data's there that then you're stopping addictions. You're preventing them altogether, you know, learning disabilities and chronic health issues. And there's all this data that says everything that we're dealing with over here in a reactionary way is what we can help over here. So I just like you to be, so that you know that we're not just sitting here saying, hey, we want money.
we
I'm saying,
we
hey,
never believed that in the first place.
I know, but if you don't want to know, tell me. But this is the work that we're trying to do, and And I'd like you guys to know, because then you can say, hey, yeah, we can't pay this 11,000 because we have a budget shortfall, but this is what we are doing as a county. You know, this is what our health department is aiming for. We're trying to go the back door a little bit too. So we still are addressing it. We're just doing it a little different than what we've done in the past. So,
I think you got our support.
yeah. Okay, thanks.
We'll do what we can. I mean,
Hopefully respect.
this,
These young women do a lot for this community.
oh, we don't
And they
doubt
try
that
to
one
treat the
bit.
community as a whole. Because there's a lot more people out there that need help, that perhaps are hesitant or afraid, or think they'll be judged. And we as a community need to stand together and help support these organizations and not criticize them and think, well, you know, you mentioned a voting issue. Another door could be opened for voters to come in and vote. You know, a lot of different ideas could have been put forth.
We appreciate all that, we really do. We want to do the best things for the people in this county. Honestly, no one's trying to be a jerk here. I don't know where this is coming from.
It's Scott. It's that Scott. It is. Every time I try to talk, you speak over me, you mumble under your breath, and I feel when we interact with your office, it is very disrespectful. And I just, that's where it's coming from, Terry, is that, like, I'm in a public position and I'm paid as a job, so I can't be unkind to the people that I care for. And it's not just one time, Scott. It's when I come to these commissioner meetings that you totally just undercut what I say, and I'm not valuable, and that's not correct. And I'm like, I am not dumb. Jonah is not dumb. And
I just witnessed it.
so,
Okay, we're getting into
Yeah.
personalities here. It's
Right.
got nothing to do with
So I'm-
business.
yeah.
Well, the
And I'm-
commission should stand as a whole.
We're trying our best. We really are. I mean, we're giving you what we got. And I say that with all sincerity.
and you just ask for an explanation. I'm not saying it's with the commissioners.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's Scott, it has
Okay.
been Leslie, and that's you asked where it came from. So now you know. And
Don't hesitate to keep coming in. If you got ideas,
When
you got.
people are in a position of authority, they should not judge.
Okay. So, from going forward now, get you moved, if we can help. I don't know how we could do that, but
Well, the last time we did this, we just had a work night, or a work day. And so from the churches, we put it out, and then we had the men came, and they did it for us. So I'm not worried about the moving aspect of it. It's just the time frame.
And we don't want to disrupt the courthouse flow either while
Yeah.
we're doing our move. So we want to be able to have access in the evenings after the courthouse is empty, on the weekend when the courthouse is empty type thing.
just
So
make
we're
sure
not-
you coordinate this with the maintenance people.
That's
Yeah.
fine. That's why I say, I just don't want to disrupt the courthouse in a whole.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be in and out the door with wagons and armloads and people trying to come in and conduct their business, or the employees trying to get in and out the courthouse either. So that's why I'm mindful of that. I don't want to do it during the day, during the week. I'd rather do it in the evenings or on the weekend.
I think that'll be fine. But again, check with Shelley
Okay.
and
Yeah.
make sure it fits in with her. So,
So that's
thank
our
you,
plan.
ladies.
So
Thank you, ladies.
the
Move
goal
forward.
is if everything falls in order, hopefully, probably the last 2 weeks of August, or the last week of August, first week of September, we should be totally done
Okay.
to where we can get everything out.
All right. Thank you so much for all your help.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Okay, do we have any other business this morning?
Not that I know of. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Is this open?
No, I'll open it for you.